Are you allowed to do that? Of course you are. Conscientious objection is a legal approach to leaving the service, even and also for not going into the service in the first place. But oddly enough, some people are not given it. The other day I had on the air Camilo Mejia. He just finished a year in prison. Why? It was time for him to go back to Iraq, and he said, no, I'm not going back to Iraq. I've seen too much immorality and evil massacres over there by our side. I'm not going back. I'm going to follow my conscience. Very interesting case. So they said to Camilo, you can't follow your conscience. You're going to jail. So he went to jail. Then a guy in Abu Ghraib prison who was accused of torture, they said, why were you torturing? He said, because I received those orders. They said, you should have followed your conscience. They're trying to get you both ways. And they sent him to jail. So the lower level at Abu Ghraib, some of them went to prison because they didn't follow their conscience. And this guy's going to jail because he did follow his conscience. The point is they have you in a totally authoritarian situation. And it is tragic after you get in, and some of you have been in, I'm sure. One of the first things the drill instructor is going to say to you, just remember, don't believe anything the recruiters told you. Yes?
I believe, well, first of all, I was shocked to hear that liberation theology was still active in a matter of bringing it over to a forum like this. I had heard of liberation theology back in 1978, and basically when I hear from you, we're basically speaking about two evils. The U.S. government, the way you projected it, and the other evil being the backbone of communism, which is basically what which is the underline of your teaching today. I happen to be from Central America, and I was hearing all your stories, and I could relate to quite a few of them. For instance, you mentioned recently Camilo Mejia. Well, Camilo Mejia comes from a father who was an active communist in Nicaragua.
I know his father. Please don't tell me about his father. We're very close friends. All right, I've been friends with his father for 20 years. Carlos Mejia Godoy is one of the great musicians in the world. And for you to throw around a word, a cheap word, la palabra más barata de las Americas, a cheap word like communism. This is why so many children got killed, because they were communists. This is a 2-year-old communist. We're going to kill him. This is a 3-year-old communist. We'll kill him. We're going to kill hundreds of thousands of people because all that word means in Latin America is okay to kill. That's all it means. It has absolutely no academic meaning in Latin America. And Carlos Mejia Godoy is not now, nor has he ever been, a communist, which you just called him, wrongly. So please try to get your act together.
At the top of your conference, you indicated that the purpose of liberation theology is to give people the opportunity to speak their mind, to look at views. But obviously you're not willing.
No, I don't accept untruth. See, I don't accept, first of all, I don't accept you saying that I've been talking about communism for 45 minutes. I have not said a word that is communist inspired in the last 45 minutes. Not one single word. Now you used the word falsely accusing me, and when you do something like that, you're going to hear from me. See, you don't have a right to falsely accuse me. You don't have a right to falsely accuse Carlos Mejia Godoy, my dear friend and great musician.
So I am not
you have no right to promote something that's absolutely false when you know you apparently don't know about it.
You're contradicting today's conference.
Maybe so.
Allowing me to air my opinion.
Go ahead, air it. You can air it, but then I have a right to acknowledge that I'm hearing untruth. Yes, sir.
The thing is, liberation theology borrows the scientific part of Marxist analysis.
Yes.
Only insofar as it's an option for the poor and oppressed of the world.
Absolutely.
It's very different from calling somebody a communist.
Yes. As a matter of fact, this came up at Puebla when everybody said the Pope is going to condemn liberation theology. At the end of the conference, they said Marxist analysis is very useful. It's very useful because you deal with the conflict in society. You deal with class conflict. You deal with the lack of balance in society, and that's very important. So, no, the point is we don't accept anything. We do accept the idea that certain things are true and certain things are not. But we will not accept someone like Archbishop Romero being called a communist. We'll shout back at that because it's a lie. We will not accept that kind of double talk. That's what the government's been giving us. Secondly, the point has not been, again, an attack on the United States. The point has been a critical approach to our country and to every country, without which we become a robot, an automaton, and a mindless person operating on orders.
Dr. Bonpane, there's
Yes.
One student who's been.
Yes. Hello.
I'm Denise from the Middle East, and I have to specify my religion so everyone won't think on one side I'm Greek Orthodox Christian.
Yes.
So since September 11 happened in the USA, I've never heard any conversation about why it happened, where these terrorists come from, and why did they are born. And I want to say that I witnessed a lot of U.S. discrimination in the Middle East, and I believe that this is where they're born. I want to see your opinion on that.
I didn't quite. I understand the Greek Orthodox issue. We've been separate since 1054. If that isn't really,
I have specified my religion so people won't think I'm this side against this side.
yeah.
Since September 11 happened in the USA, I've never heard anything about why it happened, where did these terrorists come from, where did they go, where did all this hate to USA come from?
Yes.
And nobody ever addressed that. And for me, being in the Middle East, I wasn't Muslim, I wasn't Jewish, I was a Christian, and I saw very big discrimination that the U.S. do in the Middle East. So I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, well, we had been a very aggressive force in the world. I mean, we killed 3 million people in Vietnam. There was no reason for that war. We killed millions of people in Latin America, Central America. Guatemala, we're involved in the killing of 200,000. In El Salvador, 70,000. In Nicaragua, through an immoral, illegal war called the Contra War, we killed 40,000 people. We've been involved in the Middle East for a long time. We overthrew the head of state in Iran, Mossadegh. He was duly elected. We had no right to overthrow him. We put in a dictator called the Shah of Iran. We had no right to do that. We sided with Saddam Hussein for 10 years in the war with Iran. We were on the side of Iraq. We were on the side of Saddam Hussein for 10 years. We gave him the poison gas that he used on his own people and on the Kurds. Not to be aware of history is to be condemned by it. This is our history. So are we surprised that some people get angry? We certainly shouldn't be. Why should we be surprised? We should think about this ahead of time. We should be thinking about it now. The CIA told the president that if you invade Iraq, you are going to have more terrorism in the United States. That's the CIA advice to President Bush. He didn't follow it. It's our own fault. Without a critical approach, we can't get anywhere.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Bonpane. I'm sorry, yeah, we're
Okay.
running out of time. But will you take questions up here? Or?
Sure.
Yeah, if you have personal one-on-one questions, that's sorry. It's time to go, but thank you very much.